How's it going, y'all? My name is Sebastian Walker, and I wanted to start my story by introducing you to my dad, Mr. Robert Walker. Now, my father was born November 28th, 1974. That makes him 50 years old as of last year. And in other good news, he retires this year from 20 years in the military. And that's a huge commitment. And the experience that he gained while serving in the military rubbed off a huge amount in the way that I was raised. I was raised very on the line with a lot of discipline, and one of my favorite mannerisms of his is something that he calls the knife hand. He used the knife hand to point, to cut some shit off, to not hearing none of that, right? You can imagine it, right? The knife hand. Don't play around. And so, prior to my dad joining the military, he had almost 10 years of life. He graduated high school in 1994. He didn't join the military until 2004, when I was born. So, he, did a lot of ignorant shit. Did a lot of drugs, smoked a lot of weed, drank a lot, partied a lot, didn't give a shit about nobody but himself. The average young adult experience, especially someone with minimal responsibility. And continuing on that trek of ignorance, I'm going to stop there and fast forward to me and my senior year of high school, where I was experiencing horrible senioritis. Let me tell you, I wanted to get out the house. I started smoking pot in high school years before that, and had been smoking weed. But that year, I got caught. Right before I moved out, I got caught smoking pot. I believe it was in between graduation and summer break. So, hellfire rained upon me. I was getting drug tested. My parents were going through my shit often. And it just pissed me off. It pissed me off a lot. I was not enjoying the house that I was living in. It was not a great space at the time, mainly because of that and my own actions. But because I had to quit smoking weed and I was still dealing with a lot in my life, I resorted to different drugs. Ones that are considerably more dangerous or less healthy, to help me manage my mental illness. Now, I do not condone the management of mental illness through illicit substance, but it's what I did. And one night, I was feeling particularly facetious and decided to do my illicit substance earlier than usual. Normally, I would do it real late at night to, get away with it, wait till everyone was out of bed, because more often than not, the shit would hit me pretty hard. And I decided to do it early, around 6 or 7 in the evening, shortly after dinner. My family was still awake. And I take my dose, it starts hitting, and I'm geeking hard. My parents call me into the living room, and I'm stumbling into the living room and slurring my words, and they instantly are like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" So I get caught, and I have to fess up. And after that morning after, I slept like shit, didn't do very well. My dad sits me down. I'm sitting to the corner of him on our sofa, and he tells me this story from when I was a baby, how he was really high. I was very young, like months old. He was at his dad's house, and he is high as hell on the couch, and he gets this message, divine intervention, call it a mix of the drugs and God, that this angelic figure pretty much tells him that he needs to square up. He needs to lock the hell in and act like a grown-up, right? He has a child now, and he needs to act right. And that story that he tells me after I essentially do dangerous levels of drugs, right? I'm not gonna say I overdosed because I didn't, wasn't medically convened. But he tells me that story, and it hits home hard. I had this moment of self-awareness. Self-awareness that our parents only want the best for us, and parents have already made the mistakes that we've made, right? And so they act in hopes that we don't make those mistakes. And I'm sure when my dad saw me making the same mistakes that he made, it broke his heart. And so that moment in of itself was a huge learning lesson for me. Thank you very much.